Good morning. Good morning, collective. Hello. How are we doing this morning? Hello. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Patience. I am your favorite spirit medium host of Spirit News on Spotify that you can find on all major platforms. We have been formulating and percolating on the next episode of Spirit News, but it isn't finished yet. It seems to come in pieces, which is really cool. It's fun to not know where the next piece is going to come from, but when you identify it from spirit, it's fun to know that it's coming in that way. 1:11 on the clock. So we've been percolating on that, getting some pieces here and there. So that's been exciting. We hope that all is well with you. We are so excited to be here, to be developing our spiritual gifts this way with you, co-creating in this magical way. We are here with Paul Walker today, and we are so grateful. But we want to thank you for everyone for supporting us, for giving us love, showing us love. We're so grateful for all the love and support that we've been getting. And we're just happy to be here, happy to be of service. If it touches one person, then that is our goal. We're here, we're about quality, not quantity. So we're just happy to do so. And by doing this, it also helps develop our spiritual abilities. So everybody has spiritual abilities here at Spirit News and Patience with Spirit. We believe everybody is psychic. Your non-physical energy, your electromagnetic field that you are when your body dies, and what sticks around is the conduit or the medium in which we have deemed as psychic or medium or whatever label we've given it, its energy. And when this body leaves, when this body's done, that energy still remains because you're infinite. You're an infinite, pure, positive being of love and light, breath, light, frequency, and vibration. That's what you are. And that's what you are when your body dies. So we are developing that part of ourselves, which anybody can do. Everybody has known when somebody calls on the phone, or when not to answer the door, or when you had a funny feeling about going somewhere. Those are all parts of your intuition that everybody has. Everybody, every living thing, every animal that has that instinctual feeling, instinct, intuition, it's very, they're they're directly integrated with each other. So that's what we're doing here on this channel. We're developing our spiritual abilities, showing you that it can be done. You don't have to do it like us, but we're showing you that it can be done. We have been following our spirit guides guidance in real time, and we document that for you on Spirit News, which you can find on all major platforms and on our TikTok. If you want to see how it unfolds, we have documented 4 years worth of observation and following spirit guidance. So that's just a little tidbit about us. Hey Juan, thanks for being here. Good morning. I'm just a wandering soul. Yes, aren't we all? Welcome everybody. Good morning. We're going to be talking to Paul Walker today. So I've been getting a lot of downloads from him. And it was so funny. We make games. We make games. He said, that's so funny. I was just going to say something that happened last night. He's been popping up all week for me. And he's funny, man. He's real funny. He was like silly, goofy. He may have even smoked that weed or took gummies or something. But we were laughing last night because my husband was making eggs, but he was mixing them in this real funny way. He was like down here, and he was like doing it real fast, and I was like, and he goes, I'm doing it fast and furious, and I was like, oh geez. So I was laughing, I was crying laughing.
Sickness.
Um, so I had a few things come up throughout the week for Paul Walker, and and I don't know. Again, this is for entertainment purposes only. I cannot prove any of this. But hi, French fries. Hi, Dean. But these are all allegedly. You have to say that for legal purposes. I'm just reading the energy. Okay. So before during the week, I just had some. I was meditating. I've been doing the Robert Monroe hemisync, um, trying to learn how to astral project at will instead of randomly when I can't control it. So You're my favorite lesbian streamer. Oh my gosh, Pickles, that's so funny. I'm not a lesbian, but one of the songs that I got for this read is by two twin lesbians. I think it's Tegan, Sarah and Tegan. So that's so funny that you said that confirmation. And I'll get to that in a second. So some of the things that came up was stolen money, confrontation, heated argument, charity money funneled. And I was like, that's interesting. I don't know if that's true. We're gonna get to it, but we'll see. I gave you a like for laughing at my lesbian jokes. Thank you. Oh my gosh, the coffee's so good. Oh my gosh. Yummy. Okay. So that's some of the stuff I got. Now for the songs. So this is so interesting. Oh my gosh, what the heck? I didn't even click on this. The death of Paul Walker 11 years later. I did not click on this. Let me go back. Okay, so he was born on September 12th, 1973 in Glendale, California. And he crossed over November 30th, 2013. So he would have been 40 when he passed. And he would be like 52 now. He would be 52 now. Yes, Paul Walker is dead. Hey, Frank. Hey, Lost Owl. Hey, beautiful girl. Good morning. Are you single, married, do not kid? How many? Well, we're not talking about me, Frank. Okay, we're talking about Paul Walker this morning. So thank you for being here. So it would have been almost 10, a little more than 10 years since he passed over. But when I woke up, I heard this song in my head, and it was by Sarah and Tegan, and it's called the Walking with a Ghost. Okay, it's called Walking with a Ghost, but I didn't know that when I woke up to try to look it up. I didn't know that. So when I looked it up, I said lyrics to No Matter Which Way You Go, because I thought that's what the lyrics were. And then this song came up, No Matter What by Carrie Roberts, 2010, which is 3 years before he passed. It was made 3 years before he passed, and it says, I'm running back to your promises one more time. Lord, that's all I can hold on to. I've got to say this has taken me by surprise, but nothing surprises you. Before a heartache can ever touch 2000s. Before a heartache can ever touch my life, it has to go through your hands. And even though I keep asking why, I keep asking why. And that really stuck out to me because I wrote charity money funneled, and there may be something about finding out about, because I know he had a charity. What was his charity? Let me look it up. It was for Paul Walker's charity, Reach Out Worldwide, nonprofit that helps disaster victims in 2010. 2010. See, that's the same year as the song was made. 3 years before his death. Is a 501 registered nonprofit founded in 2010 by Paul Walker that helps bring first responders to disaster areas to augment local relief efforts. Their teams typically consist of medical technicians, doctors, nurses, paramedics, firefighters, and construction workers. Yeah. So, in which way, no matter what, I'm running back to your promises one more time, Lord. That's all I can hold on to. I've got to say this is taking me by surprise, but nothing surprises you. Before a heartache can ever touch my life, it has to go through your hands. And even though I keep asking why, I keep asking why. When I'm stuck in this nothingness by myself, I'm just sitting in silence. There's no way I can make it without your help. I won't even try. I know you have your reasons for everything, so I will keep believing. Whatever I might be feeling, you are my hope. So it gives me the feeling that he trusted somebody to, he like delegated some kind of business aspect of his charity to somebody he trusted. That's what it's giving me. Um, some kind, I have charity money funneled. So this person, there could have been some kind of confrontation about him finding out about that because opportunity, some kind of opportunist. Frank. Frank. Um, what was the name of the guy who died with him? Name of the man who died with Paul Walker? Roger Rodas. Left an event for he died with with Paul Walker. They left an event for Walker's charity Reach Out worldwide for victims of Typhoon Haiyan, with Rodas driving in his red 2005 Porsche Carrera. He was his friend and a racing team partner. Assumption. Spirit just said assumption. Rodas was a childhood friend of Walker's and a fellow racing enthusiast. They even shared a racing team. They were leaving a charity event when the death occurred, and Rodas was driving the car, and Paul Walker was the passenger. Yeah, so I don't know if this friend was involved with his money in some way, or handled money for the charity, or handled some kind of like he delegated some kind of responsibility to this friend, and he may have found out something about what this friend was doing when it came to funds for the charity. He may have been stealing them or something, and there was a confrontation or some kind of conversation about it. I well the Do I think he was murdered? I don't think that it was a planned murder. No, I do think it does feel like an accident, but what it really feels like, and we'll draw cards to confirm, is that what I wrote down was that Paul Walker may have wanted to, after this charity event, have a talk with his friend alone, away from that environment, to confront him. See what's inside. Spirit just said, see what's inside. To find out the truth about something he may have found out about, that about stolen money, or about funneling money about through the charity, or laundering money through the charity, something like that. I don't know to what capacity yet. And it may have led to a heated argument and a heightened emotional state. Um, and it, when people are angry and they're driving, um, and they'll like go faster around you, they're so angry they're gonna like step on the gas and go around you, and they have like that level of road rage. It feels like that, and it feels like in a heightened emotional state, just being reckless in that emotional state. That's what it feels like. They were two young guys driving a high-end sports car and they crashed. Yes. Yeah, I think that the loss of control of the sports car that had many factors wrong with the car to begin with. The tires were old and they were going way too fast. And I think that it was a bad time to have this conversation in that environment, with that, in that car, in that environment, driving. I think it was just a bad time to have that conversation. Okay, so that's what I got before we started. And then the actual song that I woke up hearing in my head is by Tegan and Sarah, and it's called Walking with a Ghost. Okay, no matter which way you go, no matter which way you stay, this isn't where oh, that's another message I got. This isn't where I belong. No matter which way you go, no matter which way you stay, you're out of my mind, out of my mind. I was walking with a ghost. I said, please don't insist. I was walking with the ghost. So in this car, and then Spirit also said new owner. So I think Paul Walker may have been saying, well, I'm going to have to let you go. I can't trust you anymore. You know, this is something that I don't know if we can come back from, but I can't trust you to, I can't delegate responsibilities to you anymore. You know, if I remember, he was driving a Porsche. They were not known for safety. Yeah. Yeah, they weren't known for safety. There was lots of and that's another factor of this equation that I wrote down about destiny and fate. And Spirit's been teaching me about destiny and fate. And what Spirit said was that when you plan to come here, before you incarnate, you have somewhat of like a blueprint. You have somewhat of a blueprint that you coordinate. So when you come, your soul has some kind of north node or inner direction that it wants to go. And when you don't listen to it or you don't follow it, it's a destiny. And and your destiny is sealed. You can't change destiny. Destiny is like the ultimate potential, is the ultimate goal of whatever your soul has decided to do. And when you veer off course of what your soul's north node is, then you are going towards fate, what is fated for you. And you can change fate, but you can't change destiny. This is what I'm learning from Spirit. And so with Paul Walker, we'll continue, we'll get confirmation. I'll draw cards in a second. This is just what I was getting, downloads. Something about because he just said this isn't where I belong. Him being a movie star and going this far down this route was not his plan. Was not his soul's plan. This was just like a redirection of his path, but he was supposed to go back to whatever it is he was supposed to be doing before this opportunity became available to him. And he had said opportunity when we first started. Now, because he wasn't listening to the signs and he kept getting many signs that, okay, you've had your fun. It's time to come back over here. You're needed over here. There's some things you got to do over here, whatever that is, we'll find out. He didn't listen. And so he sealed his fate by following a path that ultimately was not his destiny. It wasn't what he was destined to do in this lifetime. So that's why I'm not saying every path you choose will lead to death. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying in this particular timeline he chose to continue walking on, Walker, it led to his death, and that was fated on that timeline. But if he had switched, but he, as it happens, but if he were to switch back to his actual route that he was on before this path he chose, it would have been a different fate. So every timeline you jump has a different fate to it. And if it's not matching your soul's true purpose, the fate is going to determine, what happens at the end of that life. If you don't read the signs, if you don't understand what Spirit's trying to tell you when it comes to following your north node, the things that are meant for you, the things that are destined for you. 144. So I hope that makes sense. That's one thing I was getting. Okay. Okay. So Paul, I also have silence in reverse over here. Let me ask you something. Do you think he's in heaven or hell? I don't I don't think it's as black and white as that. I think that or from what I understand from learning my mediumship is that when you cross over, you you're the deciding factor of if you can forgive yourself for things that you've done in this life. And if you are attached to emotional hangups that you can't forgive yourself for or you can't let go of, you remain earthbound, is what Spirit has said. You remain earthbound until you're ready to let go of those earthly emotional attachments that bind you here, until you're ready for that. So they call it the truth booth. So you're ultimately the judge of your own decisions of crossing over or not. But once you cross over back to home, you go back to collective consciousness. You go back to source, you go back to God, to oneness, to unity, however you want to call it, and you can have a life review where you can decide what you're going to change, and that's when you start if you want to come back, you start doing another blueprint and you kind of tweak it a little. So how can I use the spirit realm to trick myself into not being a homosexual? You're allowed to be a homosexual if you want. There's no need to not. If you want to be a homosexual, you can be a homosexual. God made everybody, and every experience is valuable, whether you're a homosexual or not. So, anyway, let's continue. So, all right, where do you want to go, Paul? Thank you so much, Holy Divine Spirit. I am so grateful for all the love, guidance, and support. Thank you, Paul Walker, for being with us. If you are in a healed place and you'd like to come through, I invite you into my energy field with Archangel Michael for protection. I invite you to share your human experience so we can get a higher perspective of your linear view. What do you want us to know? I'm looking at these timeline cards. Oh, they just spelled out. Let's see. Invention of the graphite pencil. Invention of the graphite pencil. So drawing something up, planning something. This was something he planned. This confrontation was something that he planned. Something that he knew he had to do. There's also three pencils. So invention of the hourglass. He knew that it was going to come. So the time had come for him to plan some kind of conversation, plan out some kind of blueprint of how he was going to bring this up or something. I got you, homie. When I snap my fingers, you will forget you're ever gay. I promise you'll never get another chance like this. I don't know what you're saying. Invention of the steam engine. Because he knew this friend was blowing steam up his butt. He knew this friend for a long time. He knew this friend for a long time, and he could tell when this person was lying to him, or that this person was lying to him. And he knew the more time that this person had to do this, the more that they would take. So this was a hard thing to do for Paul. This was something that he took a lot of time to figure out, like, how am I going to do this? All right. Contraptions. Control of fire by early humans. Yeah, I know that the car caught on fire. Now, this model Porsche was supposedly Paul Walker's favorite kind of car, but this particular Porsche happens to be one of the worst made Porsches out there. It has no safety features. It it goes way too fast for regular roads, and there's a lot of it kind of reminds me of Final Destination, where when you're on a certain timeline and you're fated for death, there's no way around it. And that's kind of like what it reminds me of, because like it had just rained, so the the ground was like slick, and the tires hadn't been changed for like 9 years. They were old, and this particular Porsche had like some souped up, things they did to it. So it was like all around like a death trap. and and definitely being in a heated conversation or argument or confrontation where you're in a heightened emotional state and you're not in control of your emotions, or you're letting your emotions control your anger, is definitely not a good combination. So that's kind of the vibe I'm getting about this whole situation. Why don't we do some word tiles? All right, tell me more. No, I don't think they were. I don't think they're. Actually, I don't think they were drinking, because you drink is in reverse. I was thinking that earlier. I don't think they were high or drinking. I think it was just defend. I just saw defend. I saw defend, and finger. It's pointing the finger. This, because this conversation that was planned out, afraid. Yep. He was afraid to have this conversation and to point the finger at his friend about a bomb he found out. It made him queasy to think that he had to confront his friend about this stolen money, but he knew it was something he had to do. He knew it was something he had to do. It's something that he couldn't fight against, because this is his friend that he's known for a long time, and it made him queasy to think that he was doing this. There may have been something that happened 3 years earlier that had caused him to know that his friend was doing this when the confrontation happened. Or he may have given him a second chance. Grunt. Yeah. He may have begrudgingly gave him a second chance, but his friend may have gotten hostile. Because his friend was playing chess and and they've known each other from childhood. And Paul Walker knew that there was no repairing this relationship. Cousin, someone who is like family. There's no repairing this relationship once he confronted this person. He tried to be gentle at first. I think that's what the first song is about. No matter what. I'm running back to your promises one more time. Lord, that's all I can hold on to. I've got to say, this has taken me by surprise, but nothing surprises you. So, darkness. Yeah, this friend who was like a family member had some kind of darkness in them, something that angered, some kind of anger, betrayal. Yeah, and I wrote that down. Betrayal. This was a betrayal. This was a confrontation in a really bad place. And analysis. Hardware. I think that has to do with the car. Yeah, invention of the steam engine, analysis, hardware. Yeah, this car was not. This was like, this car was not a treasure in reverse. It was not a treasure. This was a death trap, this car. Okay? Conflict. Ugh. So, according to what I'm getting, something happened 3 years earlier. Okay, and these are best friends. They've known each other for a long time. Something happened 3 years earlier, and Paul Walker gave this person another chance because this is his friend. They've known each other forever. But this was just a timing of the hourglass. This was a timeline that was fated to happen this way because Paul Walker is not supposed to be on this timeline. He was supposed to be doing something else, but he didn't listen to the signs. He didn't go back to whatever he was supposed to be doing before. Okay, what were you supposed to be doing before? Like, what was your? We'll do some trivia tiles. What was your destiny? Painter. So I said painter. Thrush. Blue. What was your destiny? What was your soul's goal? What word starts song titles ending in hopes, sign, and time we went? Hi. Hi. Hopes, sign, and time we went. Hi. What word starts song titles ending? Oh, high hopes, high sign, high time we went. I told you, high hopes, high sign, high time we went. There were multiple times that he knew that he should end his career and go do what he was supposed to do. Oh, but listen to this. To who's to save us all from Satan's power, and God rest you merry gentlemen. Christ. he was supposed to he was supposed to go into Christ consciousness, but there was something holding him back. Satan. Satan was holding him back, which just means what I'm getting from that is he had a lot of, I mean, he had money, he had cars, he had girls, he had fame, he had a lot of things that held him back from what he was supposed to be doing truly, his north node, and it was just a lot of glamour, a lot of temptation. It's like it's like saying, why would I leave this when I have everything I need? But when you don't understand, fate and destiny and timelines and energy, you can put yourself on a timeline that isn't for your highest good. Just because you have those things doesn't mean that it's this timeline is for your destiny. It doesn't mean that it's for your highest good, for your highest soul's development. Yeah, you have all those earthly things, but look at the people who are surrounding you. Look at the things that are happening that you're not looking at, that are leading down a road that you don't want to go down. And it doesn't have to be death. It could be bankruptcy. It could be a homelessness. It could be lots of things that weren't meant for you and that aren't fun, when you're not following where I'm going, when you're not following the signs leading you into heart consciousness or Christ consciousness. Okay. Pickles, I love that you're here and I'm so grateful, but if you're not going to behave and you're going to keep being disruptive, I got to get you out. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to give you one more chance and I'm going to ask you to not be disruptive or disrespectful. And if you can handle it, you can stay. But if one more time, I'm going to get you out, okay? So I hope that you choose wisely. I want you to stay, okay? All right. So let's continue. So he stayed because he had all the things, okay? He stayed because he had all the things. What folk rocker first greatest hits LP did Milton Glaser do a silhouetted poster for? Um, but I also want to say he stayed because of all the glitz and the glam and the physical material wealth he attained, but possibly whatever his destiny was, whatever his soul wanted to do, um, might not have been as glamorous. It might not have been as monetarily fulfilling. He just said sloth, so it was definitely something he was slow to take action towards because but whatever his destiny was, would have put him in Christ consciousness. It would have put him in heart consciousness. So it may have been some kind of service. He had his charity. He had his charity that he created, but he didn't create it in heart consciousness. He created it through some other energy. So that's why the energy he matched brought him to the fate that he received. I hope that makes sense. What folk rocker's first greatest hits LP did Milton Glaser do a silhouetted poster for? Bob Dylan. Silhouette. Silhouette. First greatest hits. A silhouette. It gives me the vibe of not being fulfilled. Like having everything but not being fulfilled. You know, a silhouette, a shadow. He was in a shadow. Whatever he what this timeline he chose was a shadow timeline. It wasn't a Christ consciousness timeline. So he met people and dealt with people that matched that energy because he was walking with a lot of shadows himself. That's another thing that I always get with these reads is that, these are humans. So they're not, we expect them to be perfect and we expect them to like have this level of morality that sometimes they often don't. And you have to understand that they're human and they're put in environments where they're with very corrupt people and they're with very immoral people. And so when you're around that energy and you're on a silhouetted timeline, that's the experiences you're going to come into contact with and make choices with and decisions with. And it's not to say that you can't get out of it and you can't change it, but if you don't understand energy and you don't understand when those things come to you and how to redirect them or transmute them, then you're going to possibly act in those ways as well. And so there's like an error of walking on his shadow side, but not actually like transmuting or changing that and having people in his life that match that energy too. Okay. Yellow. What did Pat Boone ever record a number called G. Whitaker's? Yes. Did Pat Boone ever record a number called G. Whitaker's? All right. Pat Boone, G. Whitaker's lyrics. All you want to do is play. Jiminy Cricket, you'll never get no. Holy smoke. Look at the fun we'll miss. Heebie-jeebies. What are you gonna do? You never give me a chance. All you want to do is dance. Ain't you gonna ever stop? G. Whitaker's. You're gonna make me blow my top. Jumpin' Jupiter, save that energy. Sufferin' catfish. You'll have nothing left for me. G. Whitaker's, baby, don't you give a dime. By crackety, come on, let's have a time. G. Whitaker's, come on and knock me out. Oh, shucks, you and me, G. Whitaker's, come on and knock me out. Who took an innocent man up? Who took an innocent man? We make games. We make games. Who took an innocent man? Knock me out. Spirit, are you saying there may have been, like I said, a confrontation in the car? This driver may have lost control because Paul Walker was confronting him and they got into a heated argument. He may have lost control because he tried to hit him or something, or he tried to scare him or spook him, or he did something in a heightened emotional state in a heated argument to scare Paul Walker to like be like, oh, you think, I don't know, I don't, I've never, I've kind of getting, I don't even know how I could like describe this. Oh, you think that you know everything? You think that I would do that to you? Well, what do you think I'm gonna do now in the car? You know, like, I don't know, I can't even, I can't reenact it, but I can like see it in my head. It was some kind of power play because listen to this. What big band king nixed Charlie Parker's asking fee, noting, I'd work for you, Bird, if you paid me that kind of money. Related, yeah, that's related. Deserted area. Biting the hand that feeds you. If you paid me enough, oh, he must have said, this guy, his friend must have said, if you paid me enough, then I wouldn't have to steal the money, because Paul Walker's confronting him about stealing money, and this, he has the audacity to bite the hand that feeds him and says, well, if you paid me the kind of money, that kind of money, I wouldn't have to steal it. So it started a confrontation. It started a heated debate, a heated argument, because how dare you? You know, I'm taking care of you. I'm the one who got you this job. I'm the one who did all this stuff for you, and you're going to tell me I'm not paying you enough and that's why you're stealing from me? Like, that's a very emotional, reactive thing to say. So, these are two people that are in their shadow side, that don't know how to deal with their emotions, that don't handle emotional outbursts very well. And so the reason why he lost control is because he was in a heated debate and he was exerting some kind of power. He was saying, oh, you think that you have control and that you're so, you know, I don't know, it's some kind of like power play. But it just was not, he may have even tried to, there may have even been some kind of physical altercation in the car when he said that. Oh, tell me more. What else do you want us to know? Because I have pointing the finger, afraid to confront, there was a hostile conflict. Um, Paul Walker knew that this would create some kind of conflict that would be irreparable with a childhood friend. He knew he had to come at it like a game of chess because he didn't want to create a conflict. He didn't want there to be conflict, but he knew confronting this person about this thing would create that. But he didn't analyze the hardware. He didn't analyze, he should have made better analysis about the anger that would have been created for this betrayal, or the anger that he felt for this betrayal. He suddenly appearing, yeah, vivaciously. He gave, this was the second chance he gave this person, this friend, this person who was driving. This was the second time he had to confront them about this money laundering or funneling of funds through the charity, because opportunity. He had already confronted him once about this situation, and so he knew that doing it again was going to create a conflict. Mistake, yeah, mistakes, misunderstood in reverse. He knew that this person wasn't a victim because this was the second time he did it. But this person plays games. This person plays games, and this hurt Paul Walker. This depressed him. He was sad that he had to confront this person about, again, about the same thing. Releasing. He knew he had to release this person. And this person got mad at them because Paul Walker thought that by going for a drive they both love cars, or both car enthusiasts, by going for a drive together, that they could have a civilized, normal conversation about this thing he found out about this thing. But it didn't go that way. It didn't go the way he expected. He wanted to tell this person this was the last charity event that we'll need you for, buddy. We're gonna let you go. I wish you well, something like that. Because he was actually upset about it. Like, this is bullshit. This is supposed to be my good friend, and I find out that he's funneling money or doing something with the money. What was he doing with the money? Trickery, dishonest. He was being dishonest. He was being deceptive. Everything you feel and know is lie, made to give you purpose in a purposeless life. The bitterness and loneliness will only grow until it consumes your life one day. And you will wake up, realize you wasted your life, and missed your chance to understand the true meaning of life. Lost Owl, what are you talking about?
I am waiting at the area. The curse of 8.
The Curse of 8. Oh my gosh, the Curse of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Was there 8 Fast and Furiouses? There's 6. I think there's 8. The Curse of 8. I don't know. I don't know what that has to do with anything. So yeah, he was dishonest, deceptive, trickery. Why did he steal the money from Paul? Probably because he thought he could. Realizations. Unquestionably. Because he could. Because he could. Because he longed to have the same kind of status as his friend. This is taking advantage of somebody who has what Paul Walker had. Taking advantage, realizing that he could do that. That's what this is. Because Paul Walker was on a timeline that had him very in a place to be very vulnerable. He had a very open heart. He was very empathetic. He had the ability, because he was supposed to be on a timeline of heart consciousness, of Christ consciousness. And so he brought that kind of vibe into a shadow timeline. So everyone he met, the person that did this, was walking in shadow. And so he took an innocent man by cutting corners. He cut corners. And he may have done other things that match that energy. What did you do, Paul? Running, ghosting, disappearing, invisible. Yeah. Tell me about this ghosting. Depth, awareness, importance, value. Yes, he ghosted the importance. He knew that he should switch a timeline, is what. I don't think he knew it in that distinct, clear way, but I think he knew that this life he built was running its course, and that he wanted to do something else at the beginning of his whole acting career. I don't think acting was his original life plan, or his destiny, or his soul's purpose. I think it was just like a branch off, a redirect, or like some kind of temporary solution for something, I want to say. But he kept running from that truth. He kept running from that truth and ghosting his true purpose. He knew that the purpose that he had, or
Bump.
thank you. He knew that
Fairy.
the timeline he was on was a fairy tale. It didn't have depth, it didn't have importance, it didn't have value like his other one. But he created this charity, and so he created the charity to thinking that, I'll create this charity and this will make me feel fulfilled in this life I have. But the reason why it didn't work is because he wasn't in heart consciousness when he created it. And so he created it because he thought it would make him feel fulfilled. But really, he should have felt fulfilled before he made it. Does that make sense? And so he made it thinking with his head instead of his heart that if I make this, this will make up for the fact that I'm not doing something that's fulfilling. I'm doing something that's very shallow and very, I don't he didn't he deep down he didn't feel like what he was doing as an actor was fulfilling. He was getting all the things that were exciting and all the material wealth, but it wasn't actually filling his heart up. And so he made this charity to kind of fill in that gap and said to himself, well, if I make this charity with this wealth I have, then I'll feel fulfilled. But you can't do that. Hi, Christian. Thanks for being here. But you can't do that because then you're saying, well, I'm going to create this to feel this. And you have to feel it first before you create it. So he created the charity, but it attracted people who match that energy of lack. And the person that it attracted is this person that was in the driver's seat, that what he had a confrontation with. Okay? I got you. I got you, buddy. How about you tell me some keywords about the situation? What are some keywords you want us to know? What do you want everyone to know about the situation? What do you want everyone to know about the situation? Detriment,
Email.
faulty foundation. I told you, faulty
Dead body.
foundation. Fine outside, unstable inside. I told you. High horse. Yeah, he was on his high horse. Um, he created the charity on a faulty foundation. And this is what I'm saying about destiny and fate. Stress in life, caution, change direction, feeling stuck in a situation. Situation will not work out in future as planned. Look at the positive side. In a jam, a sticky situation. Yes. He got to a point on this timeline where he was so invested in so many things that he found it hard to go back to whatever it was he was supposed to do before. And that's often something that happens with everybody. And it's very common. You think you're supposed to do one thing, and
Evaporates.
so you stray off from
Relativity.
relativity. You stray off from the timeline that you're really meant for, and you start doing things because you think it'll have a certain outcome. Like for Paul Walker, whatever he was supposed to do before he changed his mind and did something else, he was supposed to go back to. So, but because he didn't, he could have decided to change because maybe he needed to make more money, or maybe he needed to, whatever the reason is that you change your mind to do something, doesn't mean that you're supposed to keep doing it until the end. Okay. And it's up to us to realize the signs and the synchronicities and all the ways that our higher selves are showing us, hey man, you keep going down this path and you keep mingling with these people, you're not going to enjoy the outcome. And so the other timeline that he was supposed to be on, and you can switch back and forth. Every decision changes the timeline that you're going to be on. And you can always go back to North Node. But when you're not following your intuition about how this isn't making me feel fulfilled, that's a valuable feeling that you should be listening to. If you're like, oh, I have this business, but I don't make any money and I don't feel fulfilled and I don't like the people I'm around. If there's multiple things telling you that this isn't something that is fun or that feels good, that's valuable. That is something you should take as a sign that there's something in your environment, there's something that you're doing that is not matching what is meant for you. So that's what this is a lesson about. Change direction. Start a new life. What else? Uh, it led to his detriment because it was built on a faulty foundation. What else do you want us to know? Oh, I got it. Gino's. Bicycle, progress, renewal, promising times ahead, transportation, movement, exercise. Transportation, that's so funny.
Overstates.
Overstates. Transportation. Home, shelter from the storm, safe place to rest, recovery, a place you feel in control. Yeah, a place you feel in control. Yeah, in this situation, he was not listening to his guidance. He went into a car with somebody who already had a faulty foundation, he knew already had control issues, someone who doesn't work, isn't someone who's very good at looking at the positive side of things. He put himself in a sticky situation because he was so stressed about um, coming to this person with this information. He was more worried about having to let this person go than thinking about the way that he put himself in a sticky situation inside of a place of transportation where he has no control of the domain, where it wouldn't have been safe. He had no control of that. Wow. All right. What else? What was the conversation like in the car? What was the conversation like in the car with this friend of yours? Or how did you expect it to go? Or you and me both, buddy. You and me both, buddy. So here's the thing. No. So here's the thing. No.
Whiners.
Whiners. Wrong number, but I'm interested. Wrong number, but I'm interested. Ugh, just a sec. Someone is choking at the table next to me. I gotta perform an emergency tracheotomy. You and me both, buddy. So here's the thing. No. Wrong number, but I'm interested. Mmm. Grandma, you're a savage, and that's a secret I'll never tell. Sorry, I have a boyfriend. Sorry, I have a boyfriend. So the conversation in the car may have started with a confrontation, or it may have started with some kind of what's that word? I don't want to say settlement, but you and me both, buddy. Some kind of what is that word? Like a deal or something, like some kind of deal, like hey man, you wanna, I'll pay you like a severance package or something. What is this? This is like I don't know what that word is. Why can't I think of the word? Some kind of package deal, like, because Paul Walker wanted to let this person go. So he may have had some kind of plan or like deal that he was making, because he felt bad for, this is his friend that has been his friend for a long time, and so he was in a sticky situation and he felt bad that he had to let this person go, even though this person was being deceptive and was and betrayed him twice. And so, hey, everything artsy, can I get a whoop whoop? And so he put himself he put himself in danger because he was so worried about hurting this person. He wanted to make the fall really soft for him instead of just confronting him in a place with multiple people around. I think that's what he should have done. In retrospect, he's saying that. Um, and so he gave him some kind of ultimatum. That's what the word is, ultimatum. He gave him an ultimatum, but he knew this person was unstable emotionally. He knew that this person had a faulty foundation and that he was untrustworthy. And that's not somebody you want to get into a car with and let them drive you somewhere, especially when they can't control their emotions, you know? So that's something that in retrospect he would have done differently. And also, whatever the ultimatum was, it wasn't good enough for the guy. So his friend was like, he's like, well, if you paid me enough money, I wouldn't have to steal it from you. Something snarky like
You can
that.
have it from me.
Something snarky like that. And it became a
Locked inside.
locked inside. Locked inside, he just said. And his friend became angry. His friend became angry and emotional. And so then that's when Paul said, well, I'm sorry, I have to let you go then. I can't do this anymore. I try to give you an out, and then this guy says, well, I have secrets that I'll tell. And then Paul Walker's like, what the fuck, man? Why are you being such a dick? And he's like, I'm not interested in being friends with somebody that's like you. He's like, let me out of the car. I got things I have to do. Let me out of the car. And then this friend's like, oh, you want to get out of the car? Well, I'll go faster and I'll lock you in, locked inside. He couldn't get out. Okay? He was in a death trap. This person controlled the outcome of Paul's life because he was a savage. You're a savage. Because he was angry that Paul Walker's going to let him go. And you know what it kind of reminds me of? Because it says we make games. In Fast and the Furious, where they're playing that driving game, where they like stare at each other. It's like such a masculine man thing to do, where they like stare at each other and like don't look off of each other, and they go faster and faster. It's like that. He's like, oh, you think that you're so cool and a fast driver and blah 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 blah. Just anger, okay? Anger. I have anger right here. Just ridiculous. Just completely reckless, completely just unnecessary. It's just, it's teaching us. This is a lesson about choosing your choices and decisions ultimately control your path. And when you choose a timeline that isn't your destiny, it will lead you to a fate that matches the energy that you're in, and that's how it works. You are now tuned to the most articulated fun channel. Everything RZ, you're so funny. Thank you. I love you. Thank you
Hard to
for your
know.
support. Article. Oh, he said article and look left. Oh, adrenaline junkie. It says adrenaline junkie. Hmm. Tell me about adrenaline junkie. What do you want us to know about that? What do you want us to know about being an
At the foot of
adrenaline
a bed.
junkie
Child.
child at the foot of the bed? What Spirit tells me about adrenaline junkies is that when you're addicted to like feeling that feeling, there's it intuition. It's always attributed to something that you feel like you're lacking. You know, not lacking. That's not a good word. Like you're seeking a feeling. You know, you're seeking some kind of um extrasensory feeling to make you feel like alive, you know, to make you, it's like exciting for you to be in danger. Like that's not typically normal because it's very reckless and it's very unsafe. And so Paul Walker may have had, you know, an adrenaline addiction, um and that was probably due to some kind of unhealed wound he had that led him down this path. Stop. Yeah, something that stopped him from reflecting. This path didn't allow him to reflect on whatever gave him that need to feel adrenaline in that way, to feel that rush of adrenaline. Some kind of it gave him some kind of comfort when you have when you if you have to seek adrenaline to feel comfort, that's a sign that there's something within you that needs to be healed. Because when you tap into Christ consciousness and heart consciousness, it's you don't need to feel that very you know shot of adrenaline to make you feel alive. You feel loved and you feel comforted and you feel at peace naturally. So there's something about that. Oh, peace at the top of the deck. Peace at the top of the deck. Yeah, some kind of pain, success took his sweetness, created sadness, hunger, the hunger for more, disrupted the flow. Yes, okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Hold on one second. Let me get one more. Okay. So, because he didn't follow the flow, it could have to do something with water as well. Because it says ocean addict. So, I don't know if he wanted to do something with water or, um, as I have flow right here. Whatever his original path was his north node. And he got a taste of that. He was, at one time in his life, he was on a path towards his north node. For whatever reason, it got derailed or it had to change direction, and he got a new opportunity. And that's what happens on the path you're on. When you're on your north node path, you know, the devils, the whatever the lower energies are doing their job. It's their job to distract you. It's their job to get you off your north node into Christ consciousness, because this is the earth realm. They need you to be in earth 3D density, to be able to control the narrative. And so when you are in your north node towards Christ consciousness, they don't want that. So you on your path, you will get distracted. You'll get many distractions, and that will match your energy that you're at that time, and it's up to you to overcome those distractions. Yeah, and third dimensional realm. And it's like a game. It's kind of like a game. um and you have to be able to understand when the distractions are leading you farther and farther away from your north node, and when to let those things go and to come back. So with Paul Walker, what he's saying is that he got distracted. He got a taste of his north node. He got distracted. He went on an alternate timeline that was next to the one he wanted, and it gave him everything he wanted, or everything he thought he wanted material wise, but it was not fulfilling. It wasn't what he thought it would be. It took a lot of his sweetness away, and he didn't realize that that was some kind of underlying issue that was keeping him from feeling fulfilled. So, because his original timeline to his North Node involved him going into Christ consciousness and being of service in some way, he could feel that energetically on the wrong timeline he was on a shadow timeline. And so he was attracting people, places, and things that kept coming up and giving him resistance. And so he felt making this charity would be a way to fix that that gap he was feeling energetically, because he was not being of service the way his original North Node path had him being. That was his original plan, his soul's plan. He wasn't being of service the way he knew his soul. He had an intuition that he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. So he created the charity, and he thought, this is a great way for me to fill in that gap. This charity will allow me to be of service. I'll be putting the money I make back into whatever, and that'll make me feel fulfilled. But it didn't, because even though he was helping people, he still had people around him that he always had to worry about, that were taking from him, stealing from him, people he couldn't trust. And that's not fun, to be in an environment where you can't trust people that you're delegating responsibilities to. Okay. And so but because he didn't understand energy, he didn't understand where he was going wrong. And I don't want to say it's wrong, but he just wasn't on the path. So he knew deep down that he was not doing what his soul truly wanted to do. He had money, he had cars, he was promiscuous, he had all these things, he was very charismatic, but he wasn't being of service. And so it brought him to an energy, to a timeline that matched that energy. And he came into a friend on this timeline that was the cause of his demise, because it was on a faulty foundation to begin with. So this is a lesson about fate and destiny, and knowing what's for you and what's not for you. Okay? But in this timeline, he was an adrenaline junkie. So there was something missing from his life, because, like I said, he didn't feel fulfilled. So he would do these reckless things, and he would, play these reckless games with people, places, things. He was matching this energy. Like I said, that's how energy works. When you match something, you become that energy, and you create in that energy, and you react in that energy. No, I'm not getting that anything external happened to the car. I really think that it kind of feels like Final Destination. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but it's where death comes for you. And no matter what you do to try to thwart death, if death is meant for you on that timeline, there's going to be components that line up in that timeline of wherever you're at that's going to make that happen. And so there are many things that were building up to this moment. The finding out that this friend had already done this at prior, this betrayal had already did this betrayal, and he gave him a second chance. So this was the second confrontation of this betrayal that he had already committed. And so that was the first thing. Paul Walker should have immediately gotten this person out of his life when he already showed him his true colors. But Paul Walker allowed him to stay, and so he did it again because he could. Because that's the energy this friend was walking in. And so now it became a problem, and Paul Walker had to do something a little bit harder and let him go. But this person's unhealed, and so that's another component, okay? He and then he put himself
Legitimate.
and then he put himself in a car
Proof.
with somebody who's you don't know their emotional state, who's already deceptive, who's already proven that they can't be trusted, and he put himself in that environment. Then he also, the car, the transportation, the vehicle is a death trap to begin with. So you put yourself in the passenger seat of a person who's an uncontrollable emotional state, and you confront them about something very serious, and he basically put his life in this person's hands. So there's lots of things that lined up, and the car, and plus it had rained the day before, the tires were old, there were no safety features on the car, the car could be locked through by the driver's side, he got locked in. So there's so many things that were fated on this timeline. This was a fated event, okay, because he didn't remove himself from this timeline or these people. Fertility in reverse, yeah. It was almost like he got everything he wanted materialistically, but it left no room for
Accuracy.
growth or fertility,
Sure.
for things to grow. Thank you. So he just said sure. This timeline didn't allow for things to grow or flourish. This was a timeline of shadow. He chose a shadow timeline. Okay? It is safe for you to shine. In reverse, this timeline was not a timeline that was safe for him to shine. He had people in his life that didn't want him to shine on this timeline. Okay? Oh my gosh, all these reverse cards, coherence and reverse.
I feel sad.
I feel sad and I have sadness here.
Shut it off.
The frequency of coherence supports our ability to harmonize the frequency of the heart with the frequency of the mind for an optimal ability to create the reality that we desire. This timeline didn't match. Relationships are assignments. Yeah, this timeline didn't match his soul's, it wasn't coherent with what his soul wanted to do. Your sensitivity is a gift. My aura is magnetic to golden opportunities. Yeah, your sensitivity is a gift. That's why he was an adrenaline
To
junkie.
kidneys.
That's why he was an adrenaline junkie,
Impair.
because his sensitivity was impaired on this timeline. This timeline, he did things and went through things because of his choices to go away from his north node, left him desensitized, and so he was incoherent. He did not see relationships as assignments. He attracted relationships that were imbalanced, incoherent, that weren't fertile, that didn't grow. He had many, and that's why, because he was on the wrong timeline. Okay? He's on the wrong timeline. I make way for miracles. My aura is magnetic to golden opportunities. There is something on his, because there's something about how he was on the right timeline, and then for whatever reason he got into a lack mindset where he said, well, I can't continue this timeline because I don't have fill in the blank. Okay, so maybe he didn't have enough money, or maybe he didn't see any opportunities. But that's the thing, is that when you're on the north node, it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. It's up to you to be in an abundant mindset, knowing that I make way for miracles. Like, I can't see how I'm going to get here right now, but I know that what is meant for me is meant for me, and I know that I am divine energy. I am pure positive energy, with infinite potential. You have to be able to speak positively to know that even though I don't know what's going to happen next, As long as I feel good emotionally and I feel love and I feel like what I do is fun and it makes me feel good emotionally, that whatever is meant for me will unfold naturally. There's something that happened that veered him off of his timeline into a shadow timeline, a distraction that kept him away from his Christ consciousness, where his sensitivity, he could have been a sensitive, intuitive person, child. My aura is magnetic to golden opportunities. It redirected him to shadow opportunities, and he didn't understand that. And so he chose the shadow opportunities thinking that these are for me, these are golden opportunities. But they really only matched what he wanted, not from his heart, but what he thought would be, what he thought with his mind would be the best route to take. Okay. One last card, please. I was called here on a mission. I cannot make it up, you guys. I called here on a mission. He did not fulfill his soul's mission. He veered off track. He did not follow the course that his soul dug out for him. He got distracted, and so he found his fate on a timeline that wasn't meant for him, instead of fulfilling his destiny, the mission that he was called here to do. Yes, he died. I don't think he would have died if he was on the correct timeline, but I think that's the message here, is that the timeline he chose, which you can absolutely do. It's not right or wrong. It's lessons to be learned. He can take this valuable lesson and realize on the next incarnation he wants to do that, okay, I see now that there's distractions on my path that will take me away from what my original mission is, especially if your mission has to do with service to the collective. You will have more distractions, you will have more things coming towards you to get you away from that. And so we spirit really wants us to understand that these things happen, and it's up to you to be able to identify when something doesn't serve you anymore, and you say to yourself, okay, I've had enough fun. I see where this is going. I see the people it's drawing in. I don't have any healthy relationships. All I have is material wealth. I don't really have anything that makes me feel good emotionally. It's always hard work. I'm always betrayed by people. There's signs and synchronicities that are telling you, hello, maybe it's time to switch it up. You had fun. Let's go back to this. This is the thing that made you feel the most safe, the most fun, the most emotionally fulfilling. This is the thing that you found to be fun to do, that where time goes by and you're like, where'd the time go? Those are like certain little things that you need to follow. When something starts becoming a job, it starts becoming, you have anxiety and you have to worry about it, you don't know, then that's not fun anymore. Okay. So yeah, he was fated to die on this timeline that he continued to choose. Yes. But on the other timeline that was destiny, he would not have died. Does that make sense? So, all right. Thank you so much, Paul Walker. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that you couldn't see the signs or take the signs and change or redirect your path, but he sees now exactly what went wrong. And I hope that this is a lesson for everybody, that you can, destiny is destiny, but you can change fate by changing the choices you make, changing the people you're around, listening to the signs and understanding what's meant for you, what's not meant for you. You can change fate by changing the decisions you make. You can't change destiny, but you can change fate. Okay? If you want to learn a little more about destiny and like if you're destined to die on their timeline, you can watch our Bruce Lee reading. We did a reading with Bruce Lee where he was an ascended master who incarnated here, and so he was destined to pass at the time he did, to create an impact with the knowledge that he came in with and was able to give at the level of influence that he was at. So he was destined to die on that timeline. That was definitely his destiny, but he came in to do that. This is more about fate and choosing a timeline where you're fated to pass instead of choosing a different destiny. So I hope that makes sense. I know it can be a little confusing when it comes to like time because time doesn't exist, but there are timelines, many timelines that we're all living now. There's multiple versions of us that are on different timelines, and depending on the choices we make and the decisions we make and the people we have in our lives, it will shift the direction of what timeline we're on. But if we want to match our soul's ultimate potential of what mission we came here with on our soul mission, it's up to you to read the signs and to understand how to read them so you can navigate better and you can match that instead of being distracted and redirected. Okay, so we hope that helps. We love you so much. Thank you so much for being with us, Paul Walker. I am so grateful. Thank you to everyone who came to listen. We love you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow for Jam Master Jay. Jam Master Jay, can't wait to talk to you. Bye.